Eliza said, A. Eliza said, Tez. Eliza said, okay. Eliza said, WK 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 WK. Eliza said, Jelek Bangit TTSNYA Sumper. Eliza said, Angia Dibukam 11. Eliza said, Bentar. Eliza said, Angia. Eliza said, Ngakak. Eliza said, WK 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 W. Eliza said, hi guys. Eliza said, Suaraku sebenarnya Yuda balik. Eliza said, tapi kalau dipakai ngomong tenggorokanku masih sakit. Eliza said, jadi ya. Eliza said, kita pakai TTS hari ini. Eliza said, lol. Eliza said, bentar. Eliza said, absen dulu. Eliza said, apa sih? Eliza said. Eliza said, Eliza said, gar bisa dimation. Eliza said, absen dulu gaze. Eliza said, Ada Ryusei Sarara Rudolph Dwin. Eliza said, Mas Toyo Laenra y Bang Zef Pio. Eliza said, Ada Nur Gofur Irwandi. Eliza said, Ada Daniel. Eliza said, Hila Pelen Bank It Bakanya. Eliza said, Ada Urja Juga. Eliza said, Gar Bisa Ganti Bahasnya. Eliza said, Jadi Dia Pakai TTS Ingris. Eliza said, Jelek Bangit Fak KKKKKKK. Eliza said, Ada Lectable. Eliza said, Selamat Malam by the way guys. Eliza said, WOI. Eliza said, Siapa. Eliza said, Terima kasih Daniel. Eliza said, Ngakak. Eliza said, WK 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 WKW. Eliza said, Jamana Kabar Kalian by the way hari ini. Eliza said, Ada Qsing. Eliza said, AK Ugar Bole Ketawanya Pake WKWK. Eliza said, Koba ha ha ha. Eliza said, Suaranya Sebenarnya Yuda balik. Eliza said, Tapi kalau ngomong sakit. Eliza said, Jadi ya dari pada dipaksa mendinga ku diem dlu. Eliza said, Kenapa kamu urja? Eliza said, Aya kemarin waktu CFITU voice changer. Eliza said, Ini suara asliku. Eliza said, Salam kenal guys. Eliza said, Malam kai. Eliza said, WKKWWKWKWK. Eliza said, Lupa ngakaknya G bole WKWK. Eliza said, Haish. Eliza said, Aim welcome e. Eliza said, Wakoka okwo jagong rebus. Eliza said, Koba. Eliza said, Ketika Dibuka Bajunya. Eliza said, Keliatan Balunya. Eliza said, ID. Eliza said, ID. Eliza said, Orkawa Koor AD. Eliza said, Apan AD. Eliza said, Zira Ajiju welcome e. Eliza said, Yorala Kangen Gomong. Eliza said, Capenjetic. Eliza said, "Iya kinap nak." Eliza said, "By the way." Eliza said, "Kalian tau kenapa you hit twit?" Eliza said, "Aku artist Twitter sekarang." Eliza said, "Bye." Eliza said, "Aku quit YouTube." Eliza said, "Besok aku beli sentang biru." Eliza said, "Iya kina ulti silencer." Eliza said, "Silencernya pakai refresher." Eliza said, "Lalu pakai apa namanya?" Eliza said, "Item baru." Eliza said, "Yang nambahin durasi." Eliza said, "Real Twitter." Eliza said, "Sebenarnya kejadian aslinya lebih lucu." Eliza said, "Doa you harus ngomong." Eliza said, "G serudai tts." Eliza said, "Masalahnya kalau besok aku gar sembar aku harus balik lagi." Eliza said, "Damn." Eliza said, "Hali welcome e." Eliza said, "Gimana kabar kalian by the way?" Eliza said, "Nanti gar lucu lagi kai." Eliza said, "Real Dibungkam musu." Eliza said, "Du kangen main Dota." Eliza said, "Lagi event mh kan." Eliza said, "Tenggurakanku masih sakit kalau ngomong." Eliza said, "Makanya paik tts." Eliza said, "Sampai kapan your beta begini?" Eliza said, "Hahaha."
Rp5.000 dari
Eliza
Daniel.
said, "Jelek bangit ketawanya." Hahaha. Eliza said, "Orkawa kowa kuoko." Eliza said, "Terima kasih Daniel." Eliza said, "No name alow welcome me." Eliza said, "Ngakak suaranya double." Eliza said, "Perlu dipluk even see." Eliza said, smiling face with hearts. Eliza said, "Kenapa emoji dibakain?" Eliza said, "Ngakak." Eliza said, nauseated face. Eliza said, drooling face. Eliza said, Ya Allah. Eliza said, "Ini keknya bukan ide." Eliza said, "Dia bina tts." Eliza said, "Kapek bangit and jetik." Eliza said, "Tolong." Eliza said, "Aku kangen gorengan." Eliza said, "Yuda seminggu nggak gorengan." Eliza said, "Kapan hari akuada maxi sama temenku kan?" Eliza said, "Diajak makan ayam goreng." Eliza said, "Anjir aku kuman makan nasi claypot." Eliza said, "Temenku makan ayam goreng sampai 3. Eliza said, "Hila." Eliza said, "Bayanjin." Eliza said, 3. Eliza said, "Chewy lo." Eliza said, "Katanya kangen ayam goreng Indo." Eliza said, "Masagar bisa hook." Eliza said, "Hook." Eliza said, "K sebanyak itu dan ngomongnya kumahok." Eliza said, "WTF." Eliza said, bisa diganti by the way nickname-nya. Aventurin's wife said, Tez. Aventurin's wife said, Wakok wokwok wak wow cow quow cow quo. Aventurin's wife said, Okay Ginny Ajar. Aventurin's wife said, Pulang kemana. Aventurin's wife said, Kemarin juga akuk Indomaret. Aventurin's wife said, Sebenarnya kan stand gorengan. Aventurin's wife said, Anjir dia lagi goreng singkong. Aventurin's wife said, Wanginyo. Aventurin's wife said, Hemisphere alow malam. Aventurin's wife said, Kamu Kronis. Aventurin's wife said, Pak Ruki. Aventurin's wife said, Selamat malam. Aventurin's wife said, Aku Yuda Sakit TNG Gorokan 1 Minggu Pak. Aventurin's wife said, Koktai. Aventurin's wife said, Kazar Kamu. Aventurin's wife said, Kan Kenyatan. Aventurin's wife said, Zaki alow malam mmmm. Aventurin's wife said, Aya lagi zentria. Aventurin's wife said, Satnia cosplays entria. Aventurin's wife said, Iniake you lagi mute mic can. Aventurin's wife said, Kalau ak ugar unmute keknya kita bakal ASMR keyboard. Aventurin's wife said, Apa ak you go food gorenganya. Aventurin's wife said, Pisang goreng. Aventurin's wife said, ADUH. Aventurin's wife said, Lapar. Aventurin's wife said, ADUH. Aventurin's wife said, Sakit perut. Aventurin's wife said, Dibungkam pemerintah. Aventurin's wife said, Wakoa kokowawa. Aventurin's wife said, Bukan aku yang gomongnya. Aventurin's wife said, TTS yang gomong. Aventurin's wife said, ALOW natsu selamat malam. Aventurin's wife said, Yeah. Aventurin's wife said, Begitulah. Aventurin's wife said, Masih bisan gomong. Aventurin's wife said, Ivy welcome me. Aventurin's wife said, Selamat malam juga. Aventurin's wife said, Aya juga ya. Aventurin's wife said, Bisa jadi batsu. Aventurin's wife said, Buat pedoru nanti. Aventurin's wife said, Ide menarik. Aventurin's wife said, Bayanjin pedoru dikampur TTS apa p using. Aventurin's wife said, A W kawakawo kork. Aventurin's wife said, Sekali kali kalian yang batsu. Aventurin's wife said, Bukan aku. Aventurin's wife said, Kalian kazian ka sama aku bisan gomong. Aventurin's wife said, pensive face. Aventurin's wife said, Aku juga yuda menyiapkan mental buat dengar pedoru 12 jam. Aventurin's wife said, Kenapa kalian kek shock jitu? Aventurin's wife said, ALOW Hortensia welcome me. Aventurin's wife said, Keknya lebih ngakak pake Indonesia ya. Aventurin's wife said, Ryle. Aventurin's wife said, Akuada potato chip di belakang. Aventurin's wife said, Apa aku semelinya. Aventurin's wife said, Kamu mau aku mati ya 48 jam. Aventurin's wife said, RGALOWWW. Aventurin's wife said, Angia karaoke. Aventurin's wife said, Okay, kita karaoke. Aventurin's wife said, Mau lagu apa? Aventurin's wife said, Recuse. Aventurin's wife said, Raise ALOWWWW. Aventurin's wife said, Kayaknya lebih dari 24 kemarin. Aventurin's wife said, Afif. Aventurin's wife said, Salahin dia. Aventurin's wife said, Mana Afif. Aventurin's wife said, Ayah juga. Aventurin's wife said, Tapi kalau bold harassment teras. Aventurin's wife said, Malas. Aventurin's wife said, Ayah garsi. Aventurin's wife said, Mana koba kita karaoke. Aventurin's wife said, Lagu pa guys. Aventurin's wife said, Jagung rebus. Aventurin's wife said, Ayah nggak. Aventurin's wife said, Yuda 3HRI rebusan teras. Aventurin's wife said, Hicks. Aventurin's wife said, Tadi nyokap masako po. Aventurin's wife said, Kok ga nemu instrumental jagung rebus. Eliza Hemlock said, Real minyakan dikit. Eliza Hemlock said, Bumbunya belly di pazar kan. Eliza Hemlock said, Bane bangit hila. Eliza Hemlock said, Copyright dikit kapapaya. Eliza Hemlock said, Gar. Eliza Hemlock said, Haha buat aku. Eliza Hemlock said, Kok jelik. Eliza Hemlock said, Nah. Eliza Hemlock said, Mantap. Eliza Hemlock said, Tenang guys. Eliza Hemlock said, AKU hafal lyric diliwa kapala. Eliza Hemlock said, Andir itu apa jelek bangit audionya. Eliza Hemlock said, Selamat belajar zira. Eliza Hemlock said, Funkot apa. Eliza Hemlock said, Fun ankot. Eliza Hemlock said, Ketika dibuka bijinya. Eliza Hemlock said, WOI. Eliza Hemlock said, Teletangier. Eliza Hemlock said, Kelihatan bulunya. Eliza Hemlock said, ID. Eliza Hemlock said, ID. Eliza Hemlock said, Terlihat juga bijinya. Eliza Hemlock said, WOI telet TTSNYA angier. Eliza Hemlock said, Gar siru. Eliza Hemlock said, ID. Eliza Hemlock said, ID. Eliza Hemlock said, Kokak. Eliza Hemlock said, Bang. Eliza Hemlock said, Bole dong. Eliza Hemlock said, Waka Walker WKKWAO AKWKW. Eliza Hemlock said, Tai. Eliza Hemlock said, Apa itu funkot. Eliza Hemlock said, Na ituak penguin mati nickname sednya. Eliza Hemlock said, Nibelin bangit. Eliza Hemlock said, Lagu apa yang pelen. Eliza Hemlock said, Oh yeah. Eliza Hemlock said, Aku juga batuk sekarang. Eliza Hemlock said, WKWKWKW. Eliza Hemlock said, Padahal kemarin gar batuk. Eliza Hemlock said, Pak kakang, ALOWWW malam. Eliza Hemlock said, Oh. Eliza Hemlock said, Dang dut. Eliza Hemlock said, Tadi jagung ribut pak. Eliza Hemlock said, Bang Zef Rikyu's karaoke. Eliza Hemlock said, Satbaya Kopas. Eliza Hemlock said, Suara hujan yang menyentuh memory, Dengala. Eliza Hemlock said, Rindu yang menyiksa ini. Eliza Hemlock said, Tak bisa lepas dari sandaran waktu, oh kasih. Eliza Hemlock said, Ingatka. Eliza Hemlock said, Anjir. Eliza Hemlock said, Lagu sedi JDI Angeloak begini. Eliza Hemlock said, Pint Tarkamu Timper Tex. Eliza Hemlock said, Kazian Lagnia Aku Rusak. Eliza Hemlock said, Rio ALOW Malam. Eliza Hemlock said, Pak kakang mau dengar lagi jagung rebus. Eliza Hemlock said, Oh. Eliza Hemlock said, Ini aja. Eliza Hemlock said, Kok to konyagar Dibungkam. Eliza Hemlock said, Anjir. Eliza Hemlock said, Thank you Pak kakang. Eliza Hemlock said, Equals Minggu lalu uda lohankuo, uda mau semba. Eliza Hemlock said, Kenapa intronia kek jagung rebus anjir. Eliza Hemlock said, Terima kasih lektable LLL. Eliza Hemlock said, Biasa 2K juga Dibungkam. Eliza Hemlock said, Cat loving funkot gar. Eliza Hemlock said, MSIH kedengaran Jepangnya dikit ya. Eliza Hemlock said, Okay. Eliza Hemlock said, Kita karaoke lagu in AJ. Eliza Hemlock said, In Pelen. Eliza Hemlock said, You are. Eliza Hemlock said, My fire. Eliza Hemlock said, My one. Eliza Hemlock said, Desire. Eliza Hemlock said, believe. Eliza Hemlock said, when I say. Eliza Hemlock said, I want it that way. Eliza Hemlock said, Masih telat anjir rrr. Eliza Hemlock said, Gimana cara matiin Eliza Hemlocknya? Eliza Hemlock said, fakkkkk. Eliza Hemlock said, Padahal kalau gar mati pasti pas. Eliza Hemlock said, Gimana ya? Eliza Hemlock said, wait. False said, kokak. False said, quao cow. False said, mala false. False said, SARA. Eliza Hemlock said, Tez. Eliza Hemlock said, Ini lo. Eliza Hemlock said, Gimana matinya ya? Eliza Hemlock said, wait. Eliza Hemlock said, Laya dia malarangap, niku false. Eliza Hemlock said, Eliza Hemlock said, Keknya gar bisa. Eliza Hemlock said, Padahal kemarin aku kobadai DC sabella diagar baka niku. Eliza Hemlock said, Entah kenapa disini dia bikin per baris anjir. Eliza Hemlock said, annoying. Eliza Hemlock said, by the way aku sakit kepala. Eliza Hemlock said, Gara, pompa airku rusak. Eliza Hemlock said, Jadi gar bisa mandi air panas. Eliza Hemlock said, Hicks. Eliza Hemlock said, and aku kramas tadi. Eliza Hemlock said, Keramas erdingen. Eliza Hemlock said, Langsung jing. Eliza Hemlock said, Soalnya hari ini lagi dingin. Eliza Hemlock said, Hujan seharian. Eliza Hemlock said, Apa minum bodrexia. Eliza Hemlock said, Jer TPI lagi minum obat lain. Eliza Hemlock said, Oh shit lupa minum OBT. Eliza Hemlock said, wait. Eliza Hemlock said, Bentar gaze. Eliza Hemlock said, Minum obat dulu. Eliza Hemlock said, "Saya kembali." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ha, Monopoly?" Eliza Hemlock said, "Monopoly online G2." Eliza Hemlock said, "Bisa." Eliza Hemlock said, "Apa aku minum lohankuo lgiya." Eliza Hemlock said, "Anjir." Eliza Hemlock said, "Suaraku to Yuda balik." Eliza Hemlock said, "Tapi kemarin Garth December." Eliza Hemlock said, "Bisa jadiya." Eliza Hemlock said, "Wait." Eliza Hemlock said, "Oh." Eliza Hemlock said, "Competitive board game." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ingakak." Eliza Hemlock said, "Diam no name." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ada ga ya yang langsung bikin G2." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aku ga perlu penset enter."
Tes. Gini bisa, tapi aku harus pencet bacain. Malas.
Eliza Hemlock said, "Bid'ah." Eliza Hemlock said, "Kalau pakai Google Translate aku penset pake mouse." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ini kena ku enter dia auto bikin WK. Eliza Hemlock said, "Ga bisa ganti voice actor." Eliza Hemlock said, "Gimana caranya Debago, in main Monopoly." Eliza Hemlock said, "Pasti dendamu gija." Eliza Hemlock said, "Bentar." Eliza Hemlock said, "Kari TTS Vegas."
Tes. Ini demo. Testing.
Eliza Hemlock said, "Anjir ini demo." Eliza Hemlock said, "La padahal seru Monopoly." Eliza Hemlock said, "Pernah ga kamu beli one row yang dekat start." Eliza Hemlock said, "Bay." Eliza Hemlock said, "Kaya." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ayaga ada yang langsung bikin." Eliza Hemlock said, "Semuanya harus dipenset dulu." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aku malas." Eliza Hemlock said, slightly frowning face. Eliza Hemlock said, "Ingakak." Eliza Hemlock said, "IH kangen main board game." Eliza Hemlock said, "Apa ini Google Cloud." Eliza Hemlock said, "Wait." Eliza Hemlock said, "Gar jadi perlu address." Eliza Hemlock said, "Oh." Eliza Hemlock said, "Wakaoko, AWKOAW." Eliza Hemlock said, "Sala." Eliza Hemlock said, "Joshua ALOW welcome E." Eliza Hemlock said, "Oh." Eliza Hemlock said, "AKU Sukanya Yang Lawan Sesama player." Eliza Hemlock said, "Cameron Padahal Baru main board game di JKT." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ngakak." Eliza Hemlock said, "Kabayang bayang yoswaraku." Eliza Hemlock said, "WK WK WK WK." Eliza Hemlock said, "Bang Tony welcome E." Eliza Hemlock said, "Selamat malam." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aya." Eliza Hemlock said, "Untuk yang baru datang." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aku tidak bisa berbicara." Eliza Hemlock said, "Banyak yang kumain kumainin." Eliza Hemlock said, "Apa yo namanya?" Eliza Hemlock said, "Ada yang kayak pirate." Eliza Hemlock said, "Lalu ada yang bangun wonders of the world." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aya tanggol 5-yarder livestream HSR." Eliza Hemlock said, "Ayo adu board game." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aku jago main apa namanya?" Eliza Hemlock said, "Yang Bohong." Eliza Hemlock said, "Avalon." Eliza Hemlock said, "NGGK, gar minum." Eliza Hemlock said, "MKNY sakit WKWKW." Eliza Hemlock said, "Gar bisa dikaman." Eliza Hemlock said, "Dia gar became die common." Eliza Hemlock said, "Selamat malam bang Yuto." Eliza Hemlock said, "Aku kapek njetik." Eliza Hemlock said, "FAKKK." Eliza Hemlock said, "Dari tadi batuk batuk." Eliza Hemlock said, "La daya emang tinggal dimana." Eliza Hemlock said, "Kok bisa ke Malang." Eliza Hemlock said, "Tinggal Catania." Eliza Hemlock said, "Enfide Yuda Kelua." Eliza Hemlock said, "Bukannya masih bita ya?" Eliza Hemlock said, "Memang disandera." Eliza Hemlock said, "Disandera tenggorokan." Eliza Hemlock said, "Oela jatim juga." Eliza Hemlock said, "Jatim jatim jatim." Eliza Hemlock said, "Benaran barasa kek zentria." Eliza Hemlock said, "Selamat datang kembali karbit." Eliza Hemlock said, "A sala." Eliza Hemlock said, Natsu. Eliza Hemlock said, Jawa, Jawa, Jawa. Eliza Hemlock said, Waka Wakawa, Kokowawo. Eliza Hemlock said, Jawa, Jawa, Jawa. Eliza Hemlock said, Jua Catania. Eliza Hemlock said, Hade. Eliza Hemlock said, Zentria Pakai TTS Apaya. Eliza Hemlock said, Kipo. Eliza Hemlock said, Jujuraya. Eliza Hemlock said, Pengin Gomong. Eliza Hemlock said, Kapek Angetic. Eliza Hemlock said, Soalnya TTS Inigelik. Eliza Hemlock said, Eliza Hemlock said, Eliza Hemlock said. Eliza Hemlock said, Bekot. E said, okay. E said, nah. E said, Scarring Kumari. E said, Enfield Yang Bacon Pabrik Bukan. E said, Kokak Comeback Dotakar Wak Wak Wak. E said, Selamat Turu Lektival. E said, A by the way merch Yuda Debuka Car. E said, Ketawa Kamu Danil. E said, Aku Maun Gamong. E said, Tapi Nanti Kek Kamen Lagi. E said, Memang Dibungkam. E said, Menahan Diri Tidak Yapping. E said, Kapek Bangit. E said, I said. E said, I said. E said, Upper IH. E said, Mantap Kan. E said, Photocard Telanjang ITU. E said, AK Wow Koa OWKW. E said, Oh ya time capsule. E said, Angia? E said, Upper ISIS KRNG ya. E said, IH Tapi. E said, Nanti Day. E said, Lusa. E said, Ayajuga UDH December Angia. E said, Oh Siru Juga. E said, Majorina. E said, War Rappi. E said, Thank you Media Sharenya Danil. E said, Mantap Bang Zef. E said, PSTIK Tidak Menyangkut ADAPC ITU. E said, Mage Hand. E said, Apa Tu. E said, Waka Wako. E said, Koba Pasang. E said, Aku Penasaran. E said, Tapi Nanti Kunu Decap Ane Kalau Ketawan. E said, TTS Ini Marusak Media Share. E said, Aku Diam Dulu. Takut Nanji's Bakatime Kapsulenya. said, Mako ALOWWW. E said, Siapa tahu botmu wibu juga bang zep. E said, NTI Gunung Bearing. E said, Sekarang tiap liat rapi kiingat rizal. E said, Ya Tuhan. E said, Gorengan. E said, Ah. E said, Ha. E said, Pata sekarang. E said, Kamu lagi duduk. E said, Terima kasih Maiku. E said, Sudah MNUM obat. E said, Semoga besok BNRN sembuh. E said, War milestone of Udamutapena. E said, Ngakak. E said, Kursiar. E said, Plastic ya. E said, Yang Kursiora farming. E said, Ha sekarang lagi di kantor. E said, Jam SGNI. E said, Anjir. E said, Lemba bearing dental. E said, Apakah Donald masih di kantor? E said, Oela bang SOF. E said, Enak bangit lagunya. E said, Terima kasih Daniel media sharanya. E said, Di campus jam segini. E said, The fuck. E said, Waka ukwokawa. E said, Sekali the fuck. E said, Accent NY Vegas. E said, CPS APA. E said, ADUH. E said, TNG Gorican. E said, Jangan, Kilumasapamnya. E said, Click. E said, G-Tau. E said, Garperna CEK. E said, Kenapa dengan CPS. E said, Akurnya notif Twitter sunyi. E said, Puji Tuhan. E said, 7.8 ktny. E said, Ku juga gar tau anjir. E said, Asban doang. E said, menyatakan kejadian. E said, anjir ditinggal geo langsung rain cooks. E said, astaga. E said, akubnr harassment. E said, okay. E said, aku akan ngomong.
Oke, bentar. Oke. Jadi bentar, kita sedikit ke ini dulu. Ini kan waktu kejadian kan aku ke dokternya pagi kan, ke dokternya pagi jam 8 sampai di dokternya. Kan katakan ternyata selamat pagi, iya pagi kak, boleh minta KTP-nya? Ya aku ngasih kan. Aku ngasih KTP. Itu tuh awalnya tuh orangnya lagi ngomong sama temennya kan. Kayak tuh kantornya berdoa doang gitu. Yang mas-masnya sama mas satu lagi kan, aku ke mas yang sebelah kanan kan. Ke mas yang sebelah kanan. Lalu kan dia minta KTP, udah aku ngasih aja. Aku tuh bener-bener ngasihnya coba ambil kartu dari slot 1 kan. Aku nggak lihat ini KTP atau ATM, nggak tahu, pokoknya aku tuh slot 1 tuh selalu KTP. Ya udah aku ambil kan, aku kasih. Aku waktu kasih tuh aku nggak lihat, soalnya kan ya jam 8 ngantuk, aku baru bangun 7.30 gitu kan. Kan waktu aku ngasih, mas-masnya kan masih ngomong gitu. Mas-masnya masih ngomong, dia kayak dulu waktu mas-masnya mau ngambil, aku baru nyadar. Aku tuh bilang kan. Waktu aku bilang mas-masnya langsung ketawa anjir. Itu bukan ketawa yang hehehe, enggak. Itu mas-masnya tuh ngakak ya, hahaha anjir. Dan aku masih belum bisa ketawa, bentar minum dulu. Ya jadi yang mas-masnya ketawa, hahaha, mas-masnya ngakak. Gara-gara mas-masnya ngakak, aku juga jadi ngakak. Sebenarnya aku lagi gak bisa ketawa, kata dia aku mau ketawa gak bisa, jadi ya aku ketawa cuman mulutnya bangap-bangap gitu, kayaknya masa ngeliat aku gak bisa ketawa, dia makin ngakak aja, jadi kita berdua kayak baru lah ngasih KTP. Aduh masalahnya kalau besok masih nggak ini, aku harus balik lagi anjir, pasti masih ingat coy, ya Tuhanku. Dua orang lagi yang ketawa. Iya kan mas-masnya sama temennya kan. Satu gitu mas-masnya ngeliat aku nggak bisa ngomong, dia makin ketawa anjir. Ya Allah ya Tuhan. Ngomong siang datang. Enggak, datangnya pagi jam 8 ke dokternya. Iya. Ganti shift. Ya semoga besok tiba-tiba shiftnya berubah kan, bukan mas-masnya lagi. Ya bertali 50 menit dong. Jangan. Aku masih nggak bisa ketawa. Pagi-pagi jadi banjok sadar. Nggak mau, malu banget anjir. Untungnya dokternya nggak tahu kan, cuma mas-masnya cuma nggak tahu, jangan-jangan waktu istirahat diomongin kan. Dah, suara aku masih belum balik anjir. Coba ketawa. Hahaha. Nggak bisa dibikin fake love aja. Ya udahlah, kembali bisu. Bye.
E said, okay. E said, a WKOA. E said, Akyong welcome E. E said, AKU takutnya masnya serata kan. E said, ki temenya. E said, lalu temenya main Twitter. E said, anjir r. E said, a liat paisin kemerin en get wheat. E said, kwauk wakwau kau wako. E said, real debuff lagi. E said, hi umams selamat malam. E said, mana fatonia. E said, aku mau. E said, oh ya typingnya. E said, amna kan. E said, kamu menonton. E said, Orang gar bisan gomong. E said, Hai Hasharan. E said, Selamat malam. E said, Hashirun. E said, a W korkwakf. E said, Gar bisa tadi kan. E said, Mr. Ketua gar ada suara. E said, MSIHG bisa. E said, Amin bangit ATM prioritas. E said, Amin. E said, black card. E said, real silent laugh. E said, Hade. E said, wait lionra datang akuudh bilang hi blm. E said, belumya. E said, hi lionra. E said, selamat malam. E said, aku gar perlu jadi comedian. E said, hidupku yuda ngakak. E said, Avon. E said, NIH Avon. Aventurin's wife said, nah. Aventurin's wife said, Ryle. Aventurin's wife said, Pegel and Jetic gar bohong. Aventurin's wife said, Carla aku lomba typing. Aventurin's wife said, KTNYADA suara. Aventurin's wife said, Tapi NGGK bisa kedetect mic. Aventurin's wife said, Kok tidak. Aventurin's wife said, Can factor. Aventurin's wife said, Desire hates. Eliza said, Tez. Eliza said, AKWKWK Lukujuga. Eliza said, Eliza. Eliza said, Cocktail. Eliza said, Kuun JGN Bigitu. Eliza said, AKU behavior dengan statusku sebagai istri aventurin. Eliza said, sakit tidak menghalangiku unjahalu. Eliza said, Pegel. Eliza said, Pegel. Eliza said, Ya Yuda. Eliza said, Sini Ketikin. Eliza said, Mingulalu. Eliza said, Pas Seming HRINE. Eliza said, Kenapa gar bahasa kalbu? Eliza said, Atau gar kita telepati ayah. Eliza said, Karen ALOWWWW. Eliza said, Beliau sakit tenggorokan. Eliza said, kalau kamu ribus ayam keluar kalbu. Eliza said, tapi ya. Eliza said, sebenarnya. Eliza said, sakit TNG gorakanku waktu hari Selasa Jumat sore tumsih sakit TNG gorokan biasa tau. Eliza said, yang sudah biasa aku lewati. Eliza said, UDH Mr. Sember. Eliza said, tapi. Eliza said, Karina Jumatnya Strim. Eliza said, and yapping. Eliza said, and 3 jam. Eliza said, Jadijnia Begini. Eliza said, WKWKWKWKW. Eliza said, Aquo Quacoquo Ayakaldu. Eliza said, Aper. Eliza said, Angia. Eliza said, Siapa Siam. Eliza said, Yoralabang Tony. Eliza said, Terima kasih Sionia. Eliza said, throwing kisses. Eliza said, GPP. Eliza said, Baya Ketularan. Eliza said, Berbagi Penyakit. Eliza said, Baya aku Sapat Semba Gitulo. Eliza said, BLMADA yang bisa. Eliza said, Baru kamu. Eliza said, WKWKWKWKW. Eliza said, Menuladong. Eliza said, IH bang Uto. Eliza said, Yakultmu tu kan. Eliza said, 1 nya ketinggalan di rumah sepupu. Eliza said, Hicks. Eliza said, 1 nya yuda kuhabisin disna WKWKW. Eliza said, kamu no name. Eliza said, yang nanya kan kamu. Eliza said, soalnya ditaruh di kulkas. Eliza said, Hicks. Eliza said, sikat gijiku jeji ketinggalan. Eliza said, jadinya buka baru. Eliza said, kenapa? Eliza said, yang isi form buat ambil hadiah 2 tahun member baru kamu. Eliza said, sisanya claimart. Eliza said, yes. Eliza said, bayar ongkir you. Eliza said, 660. Eliza said, kamu PNY okay? Eliza said, tekor bang. Eliza said, aku tadi pagi baru kobarang nya. Eliza said, 600k. Eliza said, kwa oko. Eliza said, itu baru 1 tahun. Eliza said, belum 2 tahun. Eliza said, kemarin stoknya pada habis. Eliza said, Rayhan alowwww. Eliza said, real. Eliza said, silent treatment. Eliza said, banyak. Eliza said, sekalian stokkan. Eliza said, mulai bnyk yig 1 tahun. Eliza said, Hicks. Eliza said, terima kasih gizi. Eliza said, Eliza said, mana. Eliza said, gar Dibungkam. Eliza said, woi. Eliza said, Anjir kepanjangan dia gar baka. Eliza said, Dizar Pemilas TTS. Eliza said, KEK Yiganjetic. Eliza said, WK 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 WWKW. Eliza said, W Kawa Kokwu. Eliza said, WK. Eliza said, Garbisa Ganti Swara. Eliza said, bot Discord soalnya. Eliza said, Akayu pun malas. Eliza said, mulai lila mengetik. Eliza said, tapi gar bisa ngomong anjir. Eliza said, ya Tuhan. Eliza said, Bina harus gar ngapa in. Eliza said, gar dibolihin stream. Eliza said, so sad. Eliza said, Tamoya alowwwww. Eliza said, gaze tanganku pgel. Eliza said, kebanyakan energetic. Eliza said, kita telepati ajaya. Eliza said, WKWKWKWW. Eliza said, terima kasih lagi Daniel media sharanya. Eliza said, Kakex welcome eeeee. Eliza said, Karina Nick namya AKU settle Eliza. Eliza said, Ha bundit. Eliza said, Apa bundit. Eliza said, Looper apa kala. Eliza said, by the way. Eliza said, Kana KU Sudah Menkari oven.
Rp5.000 dari Daniel.
Eliza said, Wow Sudah 18 bulan.
Rp5.000 dari Daniel.
Eliza said, O Karain era. Eliza said, Terima kasih Takonya Daniel LL. Eliza said, Aku awalnya mau beli oven listrik. Eliza said, Tapi semua oven listrik yang kukari nggk bisa 3 tray.
Rp5.000
Elazar
dari
said,
Daniel.
semuanya
Double
2
uki
tray.
double uki double
Elazar
uki
said,
double uki
Angia
double
Pelit
uki double
Bangit.
uki double uki
Elazar
double
said,
uki double uki double
ALOW,
uki double
yes,
uki
welcome
double uki double
EEEE.
uki double uki double uki.
Elazar said, kalau kita tutup mata dia kayak ngomong double pug. Elazar said, a duh. Elazar said, batuk terrace. Elazar said, kapek abn get. Elazar said, aku harus bikin liang te. Elazar said, Daniel liang temu habis. Elazar said, wakawaka w korkwa coke wawa kwkwa. Elazar said, umam angia. Elazar said, wakawako awk kawako. Elazar said, kamu mau jadi semenyagar. Elazar said, dapat doppeluk. Elazar said, wow, 26 bulan. Elazar said, Angia UDH 26 bulan ajar. Elazar said, Lama juga ya. Elazar said, aku ad lohankuo kok. Elazar said, Yang kotak. Elazar said, Quechua umam. Elazar said, Mana Fatonia umam. Elazar said, a duh. Elazar said, jez. Elazar said, tamknya mulai tak kuat. Elazar said, batuk mulu. Elazar said, liang te. Elazar said, buat panas dalam. Elazar said, ayah foto umam. Elazar said, masih disembunyian. Elazar said, kan sekarang udah ingat. Elazar said, BJIR anak 3. Elazar said, sabar ya. Elazar said, Natsuzashi welcome eeeee. Elazar said, Liate. Elazar said, Liangte. Elazar said, Koba Google. Elazar said, Garbisa. Elazar said, Aku Angetic 8 Jari. Elazar said, WKWKWKW. Elazar said, Kelling King Gar Pake Samsek. Elazar said, Jez. Elazar said, Tampaknya. Elazar said, Aku mau end strim. Elazar said, Hila pdhalg ngomong. Elazar said, KNP batuk muluya. Elazar said, Apa krn malam. Elazar said, Terima kasih nonami. Elazar said, Plis besok semba plis. Elazar said, G mau balik k Dr. lagi fak kkkkkkk. Elazar said, fakkkkk. Elazar said, ngakak. Eliza said, real. Eliza said, Satni istahat. Eliza said, Marp guys kuma one jam. Eliza said, pensive face. Eliza said, minter obat lagi. Eliza said, bisok obatnya habis. Eliza said, aduh segukan. Eliza said, anjir. Eliza said, kartu asuransi. Eliza said, atauga name cardku. Eliza said, kwawa kwakawa. Eliza said, okay guys. Eliza said, Satnir Enstrom. Eliza said, Terima kasih yang sudah mendengar yapping TTS. Eliza said, Map belum bisa stream lama. Eliza said, Hicks. Eliza said, pensive face. Eliza said, absent DLU. Eliza said, Marcy ADA. Eliza said, Daniel. Eliza said, no name. Eliza said, Natsuzashi. Eliza said, Rudolph. Eliza said, UMAM. Eliza said, Sampai bertemu. Eliza said, Eliza said, Jumat strim gaya. Eliza said, atau paling aku mute. Eliza said, Mr. Nobar live stream kan. Eliza said, nanti de liat kondisi. Eliza said, masih selasa juga kan. Eliza said, terima kasih Daniel and Lionra. Eliza said, okay. Eliza said, Enstream DLU guys. Eliza said, Marsagar debaka. Eliza said, UMAM. Eliza said, Wakorquak WKW. Eliza said, Dibungkam. Eliza said, okay. Eliza said, bye guys. Eliza said, bertemu ketika aku sudah sembuh total. Eliza said, selamat malam MMM. Eliza said, dada a. Eliza said, hand waving, hand waving, hand waving, hand waving. Eliza said, sayap yes. Eliza said, simpan suara baya bisa ketua. Eliza said, WKWKWKW. Eliza said, okay, bye gizzy gizzy. Eliza said, terima kasih UMAM. Eliza said, otsu gaze. Eliza said, kalian jaga kesehatan. Eliza said, masih ada Bang Tony and Bang Zeph. Eliza said, mau ketua pun gar bisa WKAOA WKOWAKO. Eliza said, masih ada Natsu juga. Eliza said, okay. Eliza said, BNRN and stream guys. Eliza said, da da da. Eliza said, Otsu.